This is an accessibility presentation to support electrosensitive EHS EMS disabled employees. My name is Shelley Wright. I have had the privilege to work with students and their families in a 29-year career as an elementary school teacher in Ontario, Canada. I have been a guest speaker at 2 electromagnetic field medical symposiums sponsored by Women's College Hospital, Toronto, Ontario. When I became injured by wireless signals in the classroom and in my community, I found solutions to reduce barriers so electrosensitive disabled people could access essential services. Using the AODA guidelines and working with accessibility advisory committees, I was supported with appropriate accommodations in hospitals, medical clinics, and in my community. At Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario (ETFO) annual meetings of 800 union members representing 80,000 teachers, I presented resolutions related to safe tech that were successfully passed. These resolutions promoted safe technology to support students, pregnant staff, and environmentally sensitive teachers. I actively promote compassionate, inclusive communities where the needs of electrosensitive disabled individuals are considered and respected so that no one is left behind. Through personal and professional experiences, I discovered that what is healthy for students and for electrosensitive teachers is healthy for everyone in the workplace and in the community. This is my medical diagnosis. I have a disability called electromagnetic hypersensitivity, or simply EHS or EMS. Electromagnetic intolerance, or EMI, is also a name used for this disability. I was diagnosed by a medical doctor who specializes in environmental medicine at Women's College Hospital, Toronto, Ontario. This is my genetic predisposition. My genetic test reveals biomarkers which help explain my EMF sensitivity. I am missing the GSTTI gene, the GSTMI detox gene, and my GSTP1 is suboptimal. I also carry the MTHFR gene, which reduces my ability to methylate and remove toxins. These are the electromagnetic sources which trigger my electromagnetic sensitivity. I become ill when cell phones intermittently connect with local cell towers or when others are making phone calls or texts. Each of these sources produce electromagnetic signals which trigger my electromagnetic symptoms. Texts appear to send the strongest signals and create a searing pain through the posterior part of my head. Hubs, routers, smartwatches, all smart devices, and all devices emitting wireless signals in the microwave range, including small cell antennas on rooftops, can create debilitating symptoms. Signal strength, my proximity to the source, and duration of exposure collectively has an impact on the severity of my subsequent symptoms. My symptoms disappear within hours or days after the triggers are removed. My symptoms include sharp posterior head pains, building head pressure, and intolerable migraines lasting for hours or days. I experience loss of executive functioning, inability to focus, affecting communication, thinking, and memory, slurred speech, and inability to do multiple tasks. Microwave radiation is considered a neurotoxicant. I don't have MS, but I experienced MS-like symptoms around wireless hub in my classroom and other classrooms. A neurologist confirmed a differential between the left and right side of my body, and she indicated that wireless signals can interfere with the electromagnetic signals in the brain, which can have an impact on functioning. Dr. Magda Havas, a scientist from Trent University, has a website confirming this potential effect. These are the conditions which create my debilitating symptoms. My symptoms can become debilitating depending on the wireless signal strength, my proximity to the source, and duration of exposure. The Bioinitiative report recommends levels not exceed 3 to 6 microwatts per meter squared for indoor RF levels. However, some EHS disabled people report feeling levels lower than this. Radio frequency RF meters are essential to record workplace exposures to ensure these levels follow Bioinitiative recommendations and support electrosensitive disabled employees. Electromagnetically disabled employees who are not accommodated can experience significant and unfortunate hurdles. In the absence of appropriate accommodations, EHS disabled employees can feel forced to take short-term or long-term leave from the workplace to regain their health. They often experience loss of professional development, which significantly reduces opportunities to advance in the workplace. They can experience isolation, limited participation, and inability to collaborate freely with colleagues. This is my medical accommodation letter from Women's College Hospital, Toronto, Ontario. This is the readable version. As you can see in the screen version, my doctor recommended that wireless routers should be turned off in designated meeting rooms. She also recommended screened messages in workshops and assemblies to request that all attendees put wireless devices in airplane mode with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals disabled. My doctor recommended that shared spaces such as bathrooms and elevators have disability signs posted with the environmental sensitivity message. She also recommended verbal announcements to be made at the beginning of the meeting and after break times before the meeting resumes, with a request that attendees put devices into airplane mode with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals disabled. She also recommended that wired microphones and wired devices, for example, the sound system, should be chosen over wireless equipment. When wired options aren't available, she suggested that wireless equipment should be 50 feet away from my designated area and that I should be informed where these wireless systems are. She also recommended that ETFO choose venues where green space or park options are close by so I can recover from accidental signal exposures if signals become and symptoms become intolerable. Dr. Bray reported that these accommodations appropriately follow the Canadian Human Rights Guidelines. Dr. Bray's closing comment, quote, EHS can be a disabling health issue. I sincerely hope that proper accommodations will be provided to Shelley so she can participate fully at ETFO-sponsored events while maintaining an optimal health status, unquote. These are excellent examples of public accommodations which created accessibility for me. A growing number of places are now accessible to me. At the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario annual meetings, 800 teachers are asked to put cell phones in airplane mode or turned off completely. Wireless voting is not permitted to ensure equity for wireless EHS disabled members. The Shaw Festival, community theaters, and some movie theaters have appropriate accommodations and are accessible to me and my family. At the Royal Victoria Hospital, staff are trained to provide appropriate accessibility. I'm escorted to a private elevator, disability signs are posted, patients are asked to use airplane mode or turn off their cell phone completely, and the doctor announces his phone is left at reception or on airplane mode with all signals disabled. This environmental sensitivity disability sign is used in the workplace, hospitals, medical clinics, public places, and events. Accommodations must be established with recommendations from the disabled employee. Electrosensitive employees can differ in their level of sensitivity to wireless signals. Accommodations which support the individual needs of the electrosensitive employee can create full integration and optimal productivity for each electrosensitive employee. Here are examples of my workplace accommodations. In the workplace, my principal created a schedule, so all my recess duties were outdoors. Division meetings were held in my classroom in a room without wireless routers. Staff disabled their cell phones or left their cell phone in their own classroom. A switch connected up to 12 laptops with an internet cable to each laptop. Verbal announcements were given during community assemblies in the gymnasium to families. Administrative staff would share an announcement to the community. Quote, to consider the environmental sensitivities of others, please put your cell phone in airplane mode with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals off. Do not put your cell phone in vibrate mode as it still emits a signal. And some people need to know that in airplane mode you can still use the photo options. At special events, an IT employee was asked to turn off the router in the meeting room. Wired mics and a wired sound system were used. EHS disability signs were posted on the front door, the bathroom, and at the reception area. A greeter at the door gave instructions to download data and enter the meeting room with cell phones and wireless devices disabled or all antennas in airplane mode. She specifically requested that vibrate mode not be used as this mode still emits signals which can injure sensitive employees. To make sure all antennas are turned off, one of the greeters used an RF meter at the entrance to check levels as people entered the meeting room. A greeter assisted them with turning off the antennas on their devices. Special events were usually hosted 1 kilometer away from a cell tower. Messages in event calendars and advertisements prior to the event promoted safe tech practices which supported the environmentally sensitive participants. These pre-event announcements ensured that all attendees downloaded data ahead of time and were prepared for the accommodations needed to support the disabled participants at the event. Airplane mode does not always disable all wireless signals. Devices that are Wi-Fi ready may have signals that continue to communicate and may require advanced IT support. Turning cell phones off completely to disable all signals is the best. Being prepared for non-compliant attendees can lead to successful accommodations. There are several options that can work for these employees. If people are non-compliant, they can forward their cell phone to a landline phone near the meeting room or in the meeting room. Hand their cell phone to staff outside the meeting room who can let them know if their phone rings. They can move 50 feet from the electrosensitive person or put their cell phone 50 feet away with the ringer on the loudest setting. If the phone is 50 feet away, measuring the signals in the room near the sensitive employee is recommended. The disabled employee needs to be consulted to determine if these measurements are acceptable or if additional steps are required. A greeter at the door is necessary for latecomers who miss the verbal or screened announcements. Creating an accessible workplace community. These are the recommended workplace accessibility goals. In summary, consulting with the electro-hypersensitive employee will help to identify their needs and lead to cost-effective planning, which reduces costly trial and error. Working directly with the electrosensitive employee is essential to create an optimal, productive workplace environment. Wired technology is superior because it reduces possible cumulative negative biological symptoms, provides consistent connectivity, and supports data privacy for everyone. For employee health and productivity, avoid mini antennas on rooftops. Building biologists can identify and provide solutions to reduce EMFs in the workplace. Using an on-off switch for routers, posting disability signs, and staff training is essential. Wired technology creates accessibility. Following the ALARA principle means to operate devices with signal levels, quote, as low as reasonably achievable to operate devices with maximum efficiency, unquote. This supports the health of all employees. Following the Bioinitiative recommendations of 3 to 6 microwatts per meter squared for RF levels is key to successfully accommodate electrosensitive employees when wired options are not available. Even if the signal strength is low, sometimes the proximity of the signal or duration of exposure can still induce symptoms for sensitive employees. Wired technologies are 100% safe, secure, and equally as fast as wireless systems, posing no connectivity problems. Wired systems are safer for everyone. Thank you kindly for your support of electrosensitive disabled employees.